This video is brought to you by my wonderful Patreon team. If you want to be part of the Patreon team, please click the link down below. And if you don't, that's totally fine. Of course, I hope you enjoyed this video. I used to love ghost shows. Don't get me wrong, I still love them now, but I don't watch them anymore. I found them so fun, over the top, all the acting to the most goofy, slightest reactions. You could have a door slamming and someone would scream, or a flashlight all of a sudden goes out and they would all run in a panic. Shows like Most Haunted and Ghost Adventures used to play on loop when I was growing up. And it's not because I believed in what I saw, but instead it's that the shows themselves asked you to believe. If you want to sit there and criticise all the fake reactions and all the blatant lies that they're telling to you as the viewer, then I totally get it. But sitting in a dark room and watching a night vision camera on your own, you will begin to jump at the smallest pixels along with them. There was a sense of escapism that came with ghost hunting. We have all dreamed and wanted to connect with something otherworldly and even supernatural at one point of our lives, but getting lost in an episode of Ghost Adventures back in the day, for me, was possibly the best way to do it. If you go into an episode ready to believe in the events of the moments and eager to learn if Old Man Jenkins really was there with you, then you're in for a really fun journey and you're about to enter a realm of fantasy worth believing in, even if it's just for a few moments. But why am I talking about ghost shows? Well, this brings me around to what I want to talk about today. At the moment, there is a little known horror game out there making its rounds in the horror community. Phasmophobia, a ghost hunting investigation multiplayer game and experience. You play as your own personalised Scooby gang willing to scout out the ghosts and work out what form of spirit you might be dealing with, and each ghost has a personality which may vary from shy to difficult to get hold of, to aggressive and full in your face scary. Besides this brilliant and even simple premise, this game has a lot under its hood to get the scares flowing, and I truly think it's worth exploring. So let's take out our torches, let's get our cameras and see if we truly dare to scare ourselves. Phasmophobia knows right away what it's doing with its settings. The oppressive and heavy atmosphere hangs on the shoulders of every player, and this instantly asks the player themselves, are you sure you want to do this? That's how this game pushes the player, unlike anything I've played in recent years. You're in full control of how much you really want to endure, and everything has a simple layer to it. If you want to find a ghost, then you must step into the house. If you want to get a reaction, then you must first say something. And if you want to possibly capture an image of the ghost, well then it's entirely down to you to play by its rules, and sometimes that means going in alone. The developers lay down optional objectives that may be something along the lines of cleanse an area with a smudge stick, or witness a ghost activity, or even capture freezing temperatures. All these objectives are random, but they will cost you something. And I'm not just talking about your life, I mean literally costs you money. You must first pay for the equipment with the money you earned from each round, and due to this it creates a drive in the player to earn more money and in turn getting better items, which then means you can finish more objectives. But here is the catch. You must enter the location and in turn put yourself in an always intense situation. The risk of being killed or even scared emotionally, which will possibly result in you losing your items. This then creates an emotional stake and investment that the player must overcome to improve the overall score and money bonus. This makes the player's choices and even horror threshold become a difference between life and death in game. By having items at risk, the ghost presence now isn't about the fear, but instead the reaction to losing everything you've just earned. Investigations can take hours sometimes, and you want to really dig deep to get the most money you can. It's entirely down to you how much you really want to push the limits of being scared and how much you really are willing to lose so much just to earn the slightest more bit of cash. Do something. Where are you? And most possibly, just as things are getting good, everything falls silent. The atmosphere thrives on that silence. Letting the player make their way through locations and not see or hear anything for minutes at a time gives the player time to doubt whether or not there is actually a ghost here, or where it may be waiting or hiding for you to come around the corner. Oh! Hi. This is where it really pays to play as a team in this game. It's always good to have a guy in the chair with you communicating only through walkie-talkies. Being in the van alone captures that feeling of watching ghost investigation shows all over again. While you're waiting in the silence of the van, you can see the most simple movement of a book or something on a table and you would spring into action and full excitement. Watching night vision cameras knowing that someone you know is in there is intense enough already, but let alone that you have to be on top of their sanity meter and how much ghost activity you're actually getting at a time, it makes it a super fun job to actually communicate with your team from the van.
000.
You good?
And by having to watch the cameras and keeping an eye on the most subtle movements, it's what really brings this game together. The subtle things in this game really separates its horror from other games in the industry at the moment. By having a ghost play on the rules of show don't tell, it truly makes you wonder what you're working with. You never really know what you're in for until you're willing to put the time and effort to capture something really cool. And it's that effort that every location forces you into. It puts you in a state of personal horror with every experience. It asks you for your time and patience to get the best out of every investigation. And once again, it's entirely up to you how far you want to take this investigation. If it's too much for you, you can step outside and call it a day. Every location is designed in a way which is easy to get outside from the beginning, but the deeper you go inside every corridor and hallway, it becomes a harder and higher risk to escape.
Nathan, slow down. Slow down. She's dead, man.
Every ghost is brilliantly personified in their own ways. As I mentioned earlier, they vary from what sort of spirit you may be dealing with a book full of details detailing each spirit and what it could possibly be, to every single one of them having their own personality, but on top of that, they have names. You are asked to plug in a microphone and speak to the spirit, and call them by their actual names. I haven't come across two of the same name of ghost in my 15 hours of playtime so far, but by having them be so humanized in names and even gender, it creates a story and adventure around every single investigation. When I look back and talk about how it went, it becomes about the ghost and the characters. It wouldn't be about how the ghost scared me, but instead how Mark White refused to show himself on the top floor, or even George Robinson stalking us in the living room. By having players use their voices and take that step a little bit further into the horror, it truly gets a reaction out of the ghost, and it makes sure that every investigation is personal as well to the player themselves. And it's a great way to make the player and the audiences truly play along and believe in the entity that the investigation is all about.
We will accept Y or N.
Stephen Jones, are you with us?
Oh my god.
Oh god, he's right there.
And that right there is where the spirit of the game really shines here. Pun intended. Phasmophobia has created a gaming identity of believing. Even if you're a skeptic and you think the paranormal is stupid, the game grabs you by the collars and asks you to put all your training to work. By having you put in the time and talking to the presence, laying equipment down and bringing together a team just to catch a glimpse of a ghost, this game becomes less about the horror to the player, but more of a mini passion project per every round. So whenever the game returns to the question, are you sure about this? You're already gearing up to catch your next ghost and to be fully immersed in this crazy ghost hunting adventure. I went into this game with pure fear of the unknown, and came out of it with pure passion for the next thrill. Ah, wasn't that nice? See, not every horror game ends in dread and scariness. Sometimes it can bring out some sort of good, and it gave me a sense of escapism. I really love Phasmophobia, and I'm super excited to see where they're going to go with this game and what updates it has to bring. Also, I hate the fact it's called Phasmophobia, because I know now I'm going to have to title this Phasmophobia, and I'm known for the phobia stuff, so how people are going to be confused. I'm sorry. If you enjoyed this video, of course, leave a like down below and also subscribe for more videos like this every week. And of course, I will see you at the next checkpoints. Goodbye.